Hello, my friend. Welcome back again to my YouTube channel. Now, our topic is about threefold, threefold nature in the Bible. I chose Bible because I'm a Christian. So, what are those threefold that can be illustrated in the Bible? Before that, what are those threefold nature? We have animal nature, human nature, and divine nature. As I've said, animal nature more on reptilian brain, more on territorial, and has and we have survival instinct. To do our survival instinct, we will do dominance, supremacy is the game of the day for, for us to survive. As per Darwinian famous quote, survival of the fittest. Okay? Before go deep into the Bible, I just give some clarification regarding the difference between history and story. What is history? So, as general understanding, history is a field based on dates, evidences, manuscript, coins, documents, buildings, and any other artifacts which are mostly accepted as concrete and factual. It is non-fiction, it's academic. It is really happened in the past, so we can say it is true and accurate. How about the story? The story is more on imaginary, it's a fiction, it's narrative, and it is based on imagination and creation. But where history and story meet together, we can find them in anecdotes, biographies, documentaries, historical movies like Titanic. So Titanic is a ship that is it has its historical facts, but the story of Titanic is a story. So we can say that is historical movies. So that is a combination between history and story. And even Jurassic Park. So Jurassic, that is the era where dinosaurs living in on Earth. But Jurassic Park is the story of that event. Okay? I will ask you, what's the difference? You can identify either it is a story or history. About dragon. Dragon is a story or history? So dragon is a story. How about dinosaurs? Story or history? That is history. Greek methodology, like Lost City of Atlantis, story or history? Story. Okay. And this is the sensitive issue. The creation of Adam and Eve, it is a story or history? I leave that answer for you. So what are the common books among Abrahamic religion? Because now I'm talking about Bible. What are the common books among the Abrahamic religion? It is the books in the Old Testament. Torah is from this the book of Old Testament by the Jews. Of course, in Christians we have the Bible, which is the Old and New Testament. And for the Muslim, they have their Quran, where Old Testament also included there. Existence of slavery in old times. It is story or history? This is history. It exists slavery in the old times. Roman Empire really exists in the past. So this is also history. Again, creation of Adam and Eve. Story or history? I leave that question or your answer for you. As I mentioned in the previous video, we have threefold nature. We have animal, human, and divine nature. Now I will discuss these three natures in the Bible. So bear with me. This video is a little bit controversial. Please bear with me. So I will discuss the animal nature in the Bible, the human nature in the Bible, and the divine nature written in the Bible. So in animal nature, I just want to emphasize that illustration of God in the Old Testament has an animalistic nature, a brutal leader. As an atheist, Richard Dawkins writes the following: the God of the Old Testament is arguably the most unpleasant character in all fiction, jealous and proud of it, a petty, unjust, unforgiving, control freak, a vindictive, bloodthirsty, ethnic cleanser, misogynistic, homophobic, racist, infanticidal, genocidal, filicidal, pestilential, megalomaniacal, sadomasochistic, capriciously malevolent bully. That is from the an atheist. You know what? I agree with him. Not on his belief system that about atheism, no God, but on his philosophical reasoning. Because I'm talking about animal nature. Why? Let's have a look in First Samuel 15, 1 to 3. Samuel said to Saul, I am the Lord sent to anoint you king over his people Israel. So listen now to the message from the Lord. Verse 2. This is what the Lord Almighty says. I will punish the Amalekites for what they did to Israel when they waylaid them as they came up from Egypt. Verse 3. Now go, attack the Amalekites and totally destroy everything belongs to them. Do not spare them. Put to death men and women, children and infants, cattle and sheep, camels and donkeys. Deuteronomy 20:16. But of the cities which the Lord thy God give thee for an inheritance, you shall not save alive nothing that breath. In Lehman and translation, God's instruction is also to kill the old men and women, the sick and the dying, the blind and the lame, pregnant mothers, nursing mothers, infants, toddlers, and babies. Into this understanding, this is genocide. So the illustration of God in the Old Testament was animalistic in nature, brutal leader. So for me, this illustration of God in the Old Testament as animalistic in nature, brutal leader, this is my question. It is just stories, not history. Just for me, for my own opinion. It is stories. Writers of the past use brutality stories just a way to control their subordinates, constituents, inject fear, guilt, and indignation to those rebels of faith, culture, and traditions. Their decrees and laws are very crude during those eras. But now, I thank to democracy, we have legislative branch of government to create amend laws, not in perfect way, but at least in human way, not barbaric way. So that is the animalistic nature can be seen in the Old Testament. How about na human nature? In the First Corinthians chapter 13, I will read because I read in the for animalistic, we have there for human nature. First Corinthians 13. If I speak in the tongues of men of angels, but do not have love, I am only resounding gong or clanging cymbal. If I have faith of the prophecy and phantom, all mysteries and all knowledge, if I have a faith that can move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Verse 4, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no records of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. But when there are prophecies, they will cease. When there are tongues, they will be still. When there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part and we prophesy in part, but when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. For now, we see only a reflection as in a mirror, then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. For now this three remains faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. First Corinthians chapter 13, verse 1 to 13. That is the expression of our human nature, in my opinion, in the Bible. How about the divine nature? In Matthew 11, 28, verse 28 to 30. Then Jesus said, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy